talking about this paradox of passion that can kill you. Why is it that many mountaineers actually choose to go up the hard way? Have you understood that, writing your books?
No, I mean, I think those two books I was talking about, if anything, they were an attempt to try and understand, well, why I climb. And
yeah.
you see, I don't think there is any one answer why anybody climbs. And also, people climb at different standards. You know, you have to remember that Simon and me and my friends could have climbed well within our grade on easier mountains. You could spend the whole of your life climbing, having a fantastic time, and never have an accident, never get anywhere near death. Right?
Yes.
But if you talk about climbers who are climbing at the leading edge of the sport, who are trying to push the boundaries of what is possible, if you look at just the history of these climbers, the death rate is huge.
Yeah.
And what always amazed me was when you read these climbing books, nobody seemed to really address this. Nobody really talked about death like that. You know, I'm not talking about death in my writing as a negative thing. I'm just saying, isn't this an amazing thing that climbers can choose to accept that level of risk and still want to go and do it? Now, it says a lot more about mountaineering. You know, mountaineering has produced some extraordinary literature and some amazing films. You know, football hasn't. Golf hasn't. Now,
you don't risk your life playing football.
But there's something important about that. And there's something, death is very important because it validates everything that you do. And there becomes a point where I think when you move into the extreme of climbing, that your whole perspective on being alive, living life, changes. And I think living in that perspective, that's what climbers come back for all the time.
Yeah.
And when they come away from the mountain, it's not about reaching the summit, it's about that perspective, that life-changing moment that they're there. And I think it has a much greater spiritual and philosophical effect upon you than you realize. You know, and I think you've got to combine that with the fact that mountains are extraordinary places. If you go to some of the great mountains in the world, they move you, they move your soul. You know, and they make you feel incredibly small and incredibly insignificant and vulnerable. And yet, you play games in this world.
Yes.
Now, that's an extraordinary thing to do. And if that doesn't change your life, and if that doesn't change how you think about living, then you're either extraordinarily stupid, or, you know, no, where you are.
Yeah.
If that, you do know what I mean? And I think,
of course.
And I think that's why climbing mountains has created some fantastic stories, some amazing literature and amazing films.
You said that there are similarities between writing and climbing. Now, I'm a writer and I climb, not at your level, but I write and I'm kind of a mountain girl. And I've always compared it to giving birth, which of course you cannot do.
No, I certainly don't ever want to.
But you compare it to climbing. What are the similarities?
Well, I mean, in a funny way, you know, now I say I've stopped mountain climbing and I'm now actually, I want to write novels.
Yes.
In fact, I'm halfway through a novel which I stopped writing in 2003 because the film Touching the Void came out and I became so busy and all this, and I still haven't started the second half of this novel, and I've now beginning to realise the reason I'm not writing is not because I'm busy, it's because I'm scared of writing.
I can understand
and
that.
I find writing, in a way, I find it as challenging and as intimidating as any climbing I've ever done. But I also, in a way, there's almost a dissimilarity with writing, is that I find writing is a very isolating experience. It is something that makes you feel vulnerable in a way. Climbing only makes you feel vulnerable in terms of physical safety. Writing makes you vulnerable because if you're going to be published, then in a way, you know other people are going to read your work, and you want them to like your work.
Yeah.
So you want them to buy your books. So while you're writing, you are frightened because you are actually seeking approval of other people.
Mm-hmm. You stop climbing and you fish, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, are you happy? Is there life after climbing?
Oh yeah, of course there is life after climbing.
Yeah, I meant that in a...
Am I happy? I don't know. Probably not. Are we ever happy?
I don't know. Strive for it.
Yeah, maybe did too much flipping striving. I don't know. Yeah, I'm happy enough. You know, am I fulfilled? Have I done everything I want? No, I don't.
You got to finish that novel. That's what you have to do.
Yeah, I've got to do that. I've got to. I don't know. I feel a bit rootless at the moment. A bit sort of like I haven't, like I had a purpose when I was climbing all the time. You know, I always knew what I was doing and why I was doing it. I don't seem to have that anymore, which makes me feel a bit unanchored. You know what I mean? So, you see, I've never, for instance, I've never wanted a family. I've never wanted to have children or whatever. So there was never going to be a solid place that you could say, right, that is me. You know. So I'm a bit all over the place.
That's
So,
okay.
no, I'm probably not very happy. No. But there's nothing wrong with that, isn't it?
No, there's not. It isn't.
I mean, if you're too happy, you get a bit complacent about things.
And smug.
But I'm not miserable. You know. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joe Simpson. It's been a pleasure. And good luck.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Thank you. What, with the operation?
Oh, yeah, operate and everything else you're going to do. And I want to read that novel.